Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here, and welcome to another Dawson's Top 5. So sort of inspired by the top era ones I did, I wanted to do a top 5 video based on what I want to see out of the Hasbro era, since now we're sort of in it, you know, we're on the cusp of it. We're about to get the show in a couple months, we're about to get the toys in a couple months, so yeah, top 5 things I want to see. First, just some one-shot honorable mentions. I wrote down here, I'd like to see if we continue doing adaptions in the traditional way. I honestly, personally, would like to see adaptions for all the seasons. I don't want to skip, just because I like seeing what gets thought up. I think ToQger and Zyuohger being ones that were sort of skipped or thought to be skipped. I think those are ones that, if done right, could do well here. I think kids do like trains, and I think the sort of simplistic video gamey Minecraft look of Zyuohger could do well here, and I'd like to see that. Also, I'd like a Hyperforce Season 2. That would be great. Okay, now on to the actual list. Number 5. I want to see an animated Power Rangers series. It's kind of a controversial topic, sort of. Every time it gets brought up, you either have people that are vehemently against it, or that will be explaining to me why it wouldn't happen because of Toei and stuff. And I understand that, but I don't think anything is out of the realm of possibility. Especially, I've brought this up in multiple videos before, but just given how crazy it is here that I'm talking about Hasbro owning the franchise, I mean, that's crazy, but that's still more likely than the fact that we're going back to Go Busters footage, because we had long passed over that. Most people assumed it would be Q Ranger. Honestly, I assumed it would have been literally anything before Go Busters, just because of how long it had been. So I just feel like anything's a possibility, and I'm not even saying like animated series, boom, next month, but like in the next 5 years even. I'd love to see that. Something on the level of Voltron, I think could be amazing, even if it was just MMPR. Honestly, with the level the franchise has been at in the last few years, if we got just an animated MMPR series that ran for years that was like basically the comics level of awesome, I would be fine with that, because we need that good storytelling. And I think the thing that Voltron does, which is nice, is that it gets, obviously, new viewers, but also you get that nostalgia crowd of like, oh my god, Voltron was the best, you better make sure the Paladins match the same colors, because that's important to the narrative. Still better. But, you know, you get like the nostalgia people that are like, oh, Voltron was the best, and they watch the show, they're like, oh man, this is actually awesome. And I think that could be a cool road to take for Power Rangers, where you get those nostalgia people that are like, oh yeah, Tommy for life! And then like they pop on Netflix or something and see an MMPR series, watch a couple episodes, and it's actually awesome. And it kind of proves to them that, you know, good stories can be told out of this. Because right now, you have this like situation where you'll be like, MMPR for life, and then you're like, oh no, actually the show was really good. In other seasons I was a fan, and then they go turn on Ninja Steel and they're like, wow, this is just as bad as MMPR. So I'd like to see that, I mean, for those reasons, but also, you're free from limitations. You can do anything you want with the plot, you can bring any cast members back, you don't have to worry about stuff like that. I think that the action could be cooler. I know there's a lot of people that are super attached to the live action aspect, and to a certain degree I am too, but honestly I'm totally willing to do away with it if it meant just like good and better stuff. Okay, number 4 is a pretty obvious one. I would want good toys, you know. They've definitely been very iffy over the last few years, so I want good toys. I mean, I'm sure not all of them are going to be winners, but so long as we have good stuff for collections, for retro stuff, for Beast Morphers stuff, and I'd also love to get more comic-based figures. Even if it's only one every other wave, I think it would be really cool to get more figures based off of the comic forms. That's just something that I really, like, personally want to see. Number 3, for the show itself, talking about like the primary show, Beast Morphers, and whatever happens after, assuming we continue doing like the standard formula, I just want to see better writing. Again, a very basic ask. I've mentioned numerous occasions, especially in my like Worst of Neo Saban video, that the writing really, it talks down to kids, and it basically ignores any semblance of plot, and if it has a plot, it will put the filler plot as the A plot. And you know, filler / one-off episodes are part of the DNA of Power Rangers and Sentai. I get that. I don't think it's necessarily something you have to strictly stick to. I could do a whole video on that. I think you could do a serialized season, you could do an episodic season, you could do a combo of both. I don't think it has to be all or nothing. But the point is, I want to see just better writing. I think that kids are smarter than we're giving them credit for. I mean, it'd be nice, obviously, for us to have better writing, but I think that there's a lot of kids that acknowledge when this stuff is talking down to them, and especially in this day and age when there's so many better options that you can watch. And it would really fascinate you, because I've mentioned this example a couple times when I was seeing, I think it was Batman vs. Superman. We're waiting for the movie to start. There was a kid talking to his dad about like all this Batman lore, like really intense conversation about it, like explaining to his dad, and I'm like, and then you have the Power Ranger like, kids don't understand, just have them throw a pie at a fart. And it's like, it needs to have better writing because kids have more options, and also you want the kids to stick around. I mentioned this also, but it seems like they only care about holding on to kids for a certain amount of time for the audience attention, and then when they grow a little bit older, they're not interested in that anymore. Like, okay, we'll just get the next group. But wouldn't it be better if you have this age group of kids and then they keep watching, and then you get the next age group, and then your audience keeps growing, instead of just basically like the disposable camera of audiences? You just need better writing. And it's especially frustrating because for us longtime fans, we saw, I just said that like an hour back then, for us longtime fans, we saw it grow on the Barbie. I just added like Scottish and English in there. Anyway, we saw the franchise grow, and it was really frustrating that when Neo Saban happened, for it to get knocked all the way back down, almost to MMPR Season 1 levels. Number 2, speaking of MMPR, our Lord and Savior, I need a better MMPR balance. And when I say that, I don't mean balance from Q Ranger. I mean, MMPR is the cash cow. It is the most recognizable aspect of the franchise because Saban kind of failed at creating another one that's even as close to as popular. So it makes it really difficult to branch out, especially to other audiences outside of the hardcore audience, things that aren't MMPR. So I get it from a marketing standpoint. I'm frustrated with how it was handled back in the day, which led us to this point, but it's unavoidable at this point. But I think they need to balance it better than Saban did, where they find a way to basically take advantage of, you know, the MMPR nostalgia and marketability, but also don't allow that to hold them back from pushing forward and making the current season successful, making some of the other past seasons successful to a degree, and making more iconic generations. I think Pokemon's actually a really good example of that, because you're always getting a ton of Gen 1 nostalgia and merchandising, but it never fully holds them back from creating a new generation that will become Pokemon to kids. Like, there's kids that grew up with Alola now, that's Pokemon to them, you know, and so it doesn't stop them from creating the gens in a way that will become iconic to a certain group of kids, but you know, they still take advantage of Gen 1 nostalgia so that you are happy no matter what. If you want new Pokemon stuff, there's going to be new Pokemon stuff around the corner. You're only interested in Gen 1 stuff, there's going to be plenty of that. It's not like the absolute perfect balance, but I think it's one of the best examples I've seen of taking advantage of nostalgia while also moving forward, and I think they need something like that. Number 1 is franchise growth and potential, and this sort of ties into all my points. It's almost like a catch-all in doing something like the animated and the better writing and balancing the MMPR. Like, there's a ton of potential for this franchise, and I think that Neo Saban, I think they had aspirations, but I think there was also stagnation, so they were like opposing ideas fighting each other. Especially as we went on, they just became more and more fine with minimum champion. Don't get me wrong, I'm all about minimum champion, but they need to just grow the franchise better and see its potential. Find a way to get new fans that are younger. Find a way to maybe show some of the older fans like us, but that fell out of it, that there's something cool to be had. You know, I'm not expecting it to blow up overnight, but I think that there's enormous potential if they balance some of these things that I've listed in a way that they could make the franchise way more successful. Because like when the movie was coming out, I thought a lot about how a lot of the core elements of the franchise aren't too different from other mainstream popular franchises, and yet it's still looked down upon as like a Barney level thing, probably because they're making Barney level stuff with Ninja Steel. And I think that if they can find the right balance, that they could really succeed. And that's like the core thing I want to see happen, is that succeed in general, but I think that it has potential for growth if just taken advantage of right. But anyway, that's about it for my list. Let me know what you guys want to see out of the Hasbro era. I might do another video of what I don't want to see. Victor and Monty. Oh, I just did the video just now. No, but yeah, just let me know. Thanks for watching as always, and don't forget to climb the bell and ring the steps. No, climb the steps, ring that bell to get notifications from my videos, and like, comment, subscribe. Helps me out a bunch. Till next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.